her face slammed into the Nevada dirt. Grit grinding into her teeth as Sergeant Marcus Danner's boot pinned her shoulder blades. Laughter cracked through the training yard like rifle fire, worthless, weak, dead weight. The humiliation burned hotter than the desert sun. For weeks at Ravenwood Training Complex, Aria Donovan had endured the same chorus mockery, cruelty, the absolute certainty that she didn't belong among warriors. 35 recruits remained from the original 120. Every one of them carved down by endless miles, bone-deep exhaustion, and drills designed to break spirits. Yet none had been singled out like her. Her uniform was slightly off, her bun too tight, her posture rigid. She wore invisibility like armor. But Danner smelled blood. He circled her like a predator, combat boots kicking up powdery clouds. His contempt was ritual now, a daily offering to the gods of dominance. Aria kept her gaze steady on the ground, though a flicker of memory intruded the mud walls of Marya. Her wrists zip-tied, men laughing in a language she understood too well. Back then, they underestimated her too. It had saved her life. "Attention," Danner barked. The formation snapped upright, already ramrod straight, all except her. He leaned in, smirking. Can't even stand right. Recruit from the edge of the yard. Captain Nathan Cole adjusted his tablet, stylus scratching across the screen. His eyes didn't waver from her. He wasn't watching a failure. He was waiting for something, and Aria Donovan knew the moment to reveal herself was drawing closer. This is Stories Unseen, where untold military stories come alive. Comment where you're watching from and hit subscribe for the next mission. Captain Nathan Cole's presence in the yard was unusual this early in the course. But Aria Donovan kept her eyes forward as Sergeant Marcus Danner stalked closer. "Recruit Donovan." His voice cracked across the formation. "Step forward." She obeyed with deliberate awkwardness, every movement calculated to feed the image of incompetence. Danner circled her like a wolf, testing for weakness. "Why do you think you belong here to serve my country?" "Sergeant?" she replied, steady but quiet. He laughed, sharp and humorless. "Serve your country by dragging down an elite unit, by demanding we lower our standards. I've never asked for special treatment. Sergeant, your presence demands it." His face was inches from hers now, spittle flying. "Every mile we slow down for you, every drill where someone has to carry your dead weight. Weakness kills. Donovan? And weakness has no place in special operations." Relief rippled across the formation. Thank God someone else was the target. But Aria's eyes gave away nothing. Empty, deliberately empty. "This isn't some equality experiment," Danner thundered to the recruits. "The enemy doesn't care about your feelings. They don't care about quotas. They care about exploiting weakness and weakness." He jabbed a finger at her chest. "Gets good men killed. From the sidelines." Captain Cole scribbled on his rugged tablet. His expression was unreadable, but his attention never wavered. Aria's mind flickered for a moment to another memory, the dim glow of a room in Raqqa, the smell of gun oil and sweat, men whispering in languages most Americans couldn't follow, a medal being hidden in a wooden box. She had learned then that the world rarely rewarded restraint, but it always exposed cruelty. The flash was gone. She was back under the Nevada sun. Danner's tirade still echoing. "Today," he barked, "we train close-quarters combat, the perfect arena to expose frauds." The recruits moved to pair off, hierarchy dictating partners. No one volunteered for Aria. Lachlan Danner called. Xavier Lachlan stepped forward, ex-wrestling champ, shoulders like boulders, smirk carved permanent. He looked eager. "You'll be demonstrating with Donovan." The other pairs backed off, leaving them isolated in the dust. Danner demonstrated a textbook takedown on another recruit, his tone condescending. Then he turned back. "Don't worry, Donovan. Women get special treatment in my course." The smile didn't reach his eyes. Lachlan, maximum force. Donovan, survive for 30 seconds. Cole shifted closer, curiosity plain. The first hit was brutal. Lachlan slammed her into the ground, her breath exploding out in a dull thud. She slapped the dirt to bleed off impact, but pain flared sharp through her ribs. She rose without complaint, blood beating at her lip. Lachlan smirked, glanced at Danner. The sergeant gave a curt nod. The second takedown was worse. Her legs swept, his weight crushing down. Dust plumed, blood brightened her lip, yet her eyes steady. Calculating stopped Lachlan cold for a fraction of a second. "Problem?" Recruit Lachlan Danner barked. "No, Sergeant." Cole's eyes narrowed. He had seen it just a flicker, a micro-expression that betrayed something far sharper than submission. Danner stepped forward, hunger in his eyes. "Enough playing. Let me show you how to put trash in its place." And the yard braced for humiliation to turn into spectacle. "Let me demonstrate a proper takedown." Sergeant Marcus Danner's voice cracked like a whip, and the ring of recruits tightened around him. Dust curled under boots, the Nevada sun beating down mercilessly. Every eye locked on Aria Donovan, the recruit no one expected to last. Danner seized her collar and shoulder, yanking her into the dirt with savage force. Uneasy laughter rippled, some recruits snickering, others averting their eyes. He ground a knee into her back, pressing her face into the sand. "This is the real world," he barked. "No second chances, no mercy." The words faltered beneath his grip. Aria's fingers twitched precise, deliberate, a rhythm too sharp to be random. From the sideline, Captain Nathan Cole stiffened. He recognized it instantly. "Sergeant, stand down." His voice cut across the yard, but it was already too late. Aria coiled like a spring. In one blur of motion she rolled, twisted, and reversed his leverage. Dust erupted as she locked his arm, shifted her hips, and snapped into a chokehold. Gasps broke from the circle. Danner's face flushed crimson, then drained, pale. The feared instructor, the man who had mocked her for weeks, flailed helplessly in the grip of the recruit he had tried to crush. Aria held just long enough, then released. Danner collapsed into the dust, coughing, humiliated. Silence. The entire formation stood frozen, disbelief carved on their faces. Aria rose slowly, brushing grit from her sleeve. Her eyes no longer vacant, but sharp, predatory. Captain Cole stepped forward, his expression unreadable. His words were crisp, delivered in a code none of the recruits recognized. Nightshade protocol verified. Status report. Aria's reply was calm. Flawless asset secure, evaluation complete. A murmur swept the circle. The phrases meant nothing to them. Yet the weight in Cole's tone was undeniable. He snapped a salute not to a recruit, but to someone far above their rank. Danner staggered upright, fury burning in his eyes. This is a setup." Cole cut him off, voice like steel. "Sergeant Danner, you are suspended pending review. Report to command, now." The order landed heavy. Even the cockiest recruits felt the shift. Authority had inverted in a single heartbeat. Danner stumbled past Aria, spitting dust. She leaned close, her voice a whisper only he could hear. "It ended the moment you mistook cruelty for strength." He froze, breath hitching, then shoved on. The yard remained still, no one daring to speak. Every recruit knew it. The game they thought they were playing was over. Something far larger had been unfolding in the shadows, and Aria Donovan was at its center. That night, Major Aria Donovan sat across from General Catherine Hale, inside Ravenwood's command headquarters. No pretense now, her uniform sharp, her gaze unflinching. "The program is broken," she said. "It breeds soldiers who mistake cruelty for strength and obedience for loyalty." General Hale, silver hair catching the lamp glow, studied her. At 61, she had fought battles in boardrooms as often as battlefields. That's why we needed someone underestimated, someone who could draw their true nature out into the open. Outside, Sergeant Marcus Danner was led into a transport, suspended, pending review. Hale confirmed. His training days are over. But his connections remain. Men like Colonel Voss will circle him. Aria slid 3 files across the desk. Layla Tahir, Miguel Dario, Thomas Farron. They showed character. The others aren't ready. So few. Hale murmured, quality over quantity. Hale tapped a folder marked classified. 6 weeks of abuse. Most would have broken character. That's why you were perfect for this assignment. You know the value of being underestimated. Aria glanced at the parade ground below. People reveal who they are when they think you don't matter. What I saw was strength without wisdom, toughness without compassion, power without responsibility. We can do better, Hale said. Then let's begin. The next morning. The recruits assembled in silence. Aria wore her full decorations. Her presence transformed. Yesterday was difficult, she told them, but leadership is revealed in how you treat those you believe powerless. She stepped before Layla Tahir. Why defend a teammate when Blackwell mocked him because it was wrong? Ma'am, Layla answered, voice shaking. That's moral courage. To Miguel Dario. You gave away half your water. He would have collapsed. Ma'am, the mission fails if one soldier falls. That's leadership. Finally. Thomas Farron. You let another claim your success. The mission succeeded. That was what mattered. He said. Aria pressed. And now I should have confronted him not for credit, but because his attitude endangered future missions. Self-awareness, growth. Also essential. She faced the formation. Leadership isn't privilege, it's responsibility. Your task isn't to break others, it's to build them stronger than they imagined. She knelt, lifting a handful of dirt, letting it run through her fingers. The ground doesn't care where you came from. What matters is whether you rise when you're thrown down. 3 would continue. The rest were reassigned, not as punishment, but redirection. As the crowd dispersed, Captain Cole led the chosen 3 into the briefing room. Maps glowed across the wall. Aria stood, her shadow falling long across the tactical table. What I'm about to tell you is classified, she said. You haven't been chosen for standard training. You've been chosen for something far more dangerous, a reform initiative that will change special operations from the inside out. The room fell silent. For the first time, the recruits realized their true test had only just begun. You don't have to decide now, Aria Donovan told them, rising from her chair. This isn't an order. It's an invitation. She moved toward the door, then paused, her voice sharp as steel. Whatever you choose, remember what you witnessed yesterday. Power reveals. When someone gains authority, their true character emerges. Make sure yours is something you can live with. Later, in Ravenwood's gymnasium, Aria moved through combat forms, her strikes precise, her breathing steady. General Catherine Hale watched quietly from the shadows. Impressive form, Hale said at last. My father taught me, Aria replied. Colonel Marcus Donovan, one of the finest operators this country ever produced, though few knew his name. Like father, like daughter. Hale murmured, then her expression hardened. The reports from other facilities are the same, toxic patterns everywhere. Aria toweled sweat from her brow. We've been rewarding cruelty and fear instead of judgment and courage. Can it be fixed? Yes, Hale said firmly. But those who thrived under the old system won't surrender power easily. Aria's eyes narrowed. Good thing we're not asking for permission. That evening, word spread fast. Though Sergeant Marcus Danner had been suspended, his allies whispered in corridors, framing Aria as the provocateur, and where there were whispers. Colonel Patrick Voss was never far behind. Weeks later, the door to Aria's office slammed open. Voss entered like a storm, his voice low and dangerous. You humiliated one of my instructors. Aria didn't look up from her papers. He humiliated himself. I only let everyone see it. You provoked him by acting weak. Her gaze lifted. cold and cutting, if weakness is enough to provoke abuse. Colonel, then our standards are broken, Voss sneered. Special operations isn't a democracy. We break people down because that's what's required in war. Aria stood, her voice even but lethal. 14 years, 11 deployments, 4 as team leader. If you need to crush someone's spirit just to control them, you've already failed as a leader. Recognition flickered in his eyes. Marcus Donovan's daughter. I am, and my father believed true strength comes from discipline, not cruelty, from moral courage, not blind obedience. When the next war comes, Voss muttered, they'll come back to men like me. Maybe, Aria said. But until then, I'll be training the next generation my way. They're not pawns. Colonel, they're the beginning. And unlike you, I'm playing the long game. The weeks that followed blurred into fire and sweat. With Hale's authorization, Aria and Captain Nathan Cole launched an accelerated pilot program, 6 months of training compressed into 6 brutal weeks. M4s roared on the range. M110 rifles cracked across desert winds. Black Hawk rotors thundered overhead during live fire drills. But beneath every exercise ran something deeper: questions of restraint, judgment, and the cost of command. Each night, Aria gathered her 3 chosen recruits, Layla Tahir, Miguel Dario, Thomas Farron, around the briefing table. She stripped combat down to its core. It's not about how lethal you can be, she told them. It's about knowing when not to pull the trigger. That's what separates warriors from butchers. On the final day, she led them beyond the wire into a stand of pines. There, half hidden under brush, stood a stone marker. She brushed away dirt until its inscription emerged, "True strength protects. My father believed power without compassion becomes tyranny," she said softly. The strongest warriors aren't those who dominate, but those who protect. The 3 listened in silence. Tomorrow, they would scatter to different units, some led by allies, others by men like Voss. How do we handle resistance? Miguel asked. Aria's smile was thin. The same way I handled Danner. Let them underestimate you, let them reveal themselves, and when they do, make sure the right people are watching. The next morning, General Hale pinned subdued badges on their uniforms. On paper, you're just new operators. In reality, you're the vanguard of reform. Later, in her office, Aria gave them her last charge. You'll be alone. You'll face setbacks. But the only true failure is surrendering your integrity just to fit in. Remember when I was face down in the dirt and they laughed? That moment exists in every toxic unit. Your job isn't to win every battle. It's to make sure those moments have consequences. Thomas finally voiced the question that hung over all of them. Major, can we really change the culture? Aria met his gaze. Cultures change one decision, one leader, one moment at a time. We're not fixing everything overnight. We're planting seeds that night. As the recruits departed for their assignments, Aria prepared for hers into Colonel Voss's 7th group, the very heart of resistance. Hale warned her he would be watching. Aria only smiled. The advantage of being underestimated is that people reveal themselves. And I've had plenty of practice rising from the dirt. As dawn stretched across Ravenwood, her father's words echoed in her mind, words now etched into the next generation. The strongest warriors aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who rise from the dirt again and again with their humanity intact. And somewhere in the shadows, Colonel Voss was already sharpening his knives.